After going through the introduction and overview, let us now see the Mega Kitchen story of KISS Foundation, which has been covered by National Geographic.
In the state of Odisha in eastern India is a mega kitchen so enormous it's cooking up not just a few hundred, but over 50,000 meals a day. A large but orderly crowd gathers outside the gates. The crowd is filled with little children, chaperoned by parents and young adults, many of whom have traveled from their village to the big city to attend the first day of school after vacations at the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences. Inside the gates, children and parents fall into lines. Those who are returning from last year are familiar with the check-in ritual. Each bag is individually checked by practiced hands. And any item that could pose a threat to health and security is immediately isolated. It's hard on the parents who are leaving their children behind. But it's a necessary precaution.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, sabu iti diya hochi pilan. Because ये सब जिनसा हम तक बाप माँ अंगा तेरे पेरे दो किसी रखो, है ना? अपन बाप माँ जी आस्ट्रेलिया खाइबे नहीं जान. बुझी पालू जियो.
In another line, children pass a quick checklist to rule out any infections or medical conditions they may have picked up on vacation. The rules are strict and the staff is thorough, because for the next 10 to 11 months, this will be home away from home for each child enrolled at the largest tribal residential school in the world. Sprawling out across a massive 80 acres, the Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences is unlike any other campus in the country, with a student body that stands at over 25,000 children and growing. Amongst them are potential Olympians, national-level sports champions, budding doctors, lawyers, artists, and achievers. They come from some of the poorest and most socially disadvantaged tribal communities of India, with aspirations to break the cycle of poverty. Which is why the school takes it upon itself to prepare meals not just from any ordinary kitchen, but from a mega kitchen. Operating 7 days a week, making over 50,000 fresh meals a day, enough to feed the equivalent of the entire Indian Navy. At 6 a.m. on the first day of school. It all begins with breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Most of these children have been up since 5 a.m. and they have a long day ahead, which will only end at 10 in the night. It's here that one gets a sense of the mammoth challenge of caring for 25,000 students, which besides breakfast includes preparing 2 cooked meals a day, plus snacks and supplements. A strict service strategy is essential. Children are served in batches at 3 to 4 separate locations on the campus.
हमारा मेनू के हिसाब से फिक्स है, जैसे हमारा वीक डेज होता है, जैसे मंडे को हम लोग का है चूड़ा विथ मिल्क, आज ट्यूसडे है, आज कॉर्नफ्लेक्स और मिल्क है, कल वेडनेसडे है, चूड़ा के साथ हम लोग बनाना देते हैं, ऐसे सारा हमारा वीक डेज का मेनू होता है.
Breakfast is quick and easy, and it's served right outside the children's hostel rooms. Today, it's milk and cornflakes that may look basic, but it's good for nutrition. Nearly 1,000 kilos of cornflakes and 5,000 liters of milk are consumed in a single breakfast. That's enough cornflakes to feed a family of 4 for nearly 20 years.
हर बाउल में 40 ग्राम कॉर्नफ्लेक्स, 200 ml मिल्क देते हैं।
It's a mass production kitchen with a capacity to make 10,000 meals in one batch. Since the requirement is more than double that number, the cook is divided into several batches. The first 10,000 meals are meant for primary school children, and the next 10,000 for higher secondary students. These 2 batches alone are enough to feed the passengers of nearly 80 Boeing 787 Dreamliners. But the kitchen prepares even more. There's 5,000 more meals to cook for the undergraduate and postgraduate students. It's a staggering amount of food that must all be prepared by 12. That gives the kitchen just under 3 hours to complete the cook. Mr. Ishwar is the man in charge of operations. As school enrollment has grown in numbers over the years, so has the kitchen.
Preparation style used to be normal, traditional. Only instead of we at home using smaller dishes, they were using giant dishes to cook the things. Then we thought of, and it was preparing the meal, the then size of about 14,000 people. It was something around taking 6.5 to 7 hours. Still, at times it was being delayed.
The main kitchen area is laid out to facilitate steam cooking, with 8 vessels of 680 liters each to cook vegetables and lentils, and 20 vessels of 380 liters each to boil rice. There are 4 boilers fueled by diesel and LPG, which generates steam that comes in through dedicated pipelines. Adjoining the kitchen is a massive dining hall, which also doubles up as an assembly hall. The prep begins with a thorough washing of rice and soaked lentils. Like every day, today too, there's a lot of grains to go through. Like over 4,000 kilos of rice. That's enough to feed an average rural Indian for over 50 years. Besides rice, the day's menu contains a lentil-rich curry called dalma. Dalma is a typical dish of the region, made from boiling pre-soaked lentils and vegetables. It's not only protein-rich, but also rich in vitamins and minerals, depending on the vegetable of the day. Above all, dalma is traditional food that's comfort for thousands of children living far from their families. Each lot of vegetables cut is then taken away to clean thoroughly before it's all added to the main curry. In the main kitchen area, cooks are putting together a mix of spices that will make the masala of the dalma stew. Experienced hands dole out exact quantities of different spices. A little too less, and the meal will be too bland to appeal to young taste buds. A little too much, and the meal will be unpalatable, especially to the smallest children.
The ingredient proportions, etc., it is fairly standardized. We have got SOPs for every item which we are preparing. So where the ratios are prefixed. So keeping that, so the taste is also taken care of, and also the nutritional value.
In the steam cooking section, the crew is already setting the massive vessels to boil. Today's dalma will contain approximately 2,500 kilos of pulse grains and 2,400 kilos of vegetables like pumpkin.
In the small vessels, we put about 100 kilograms of rice. It is ready in 7 to 8 minutes. Similarly, in the larger vessels, we are putting roughly about 150 kilograms of lentil with vegetables, another 200 kilograms. It is ready in almost 17 to 19 minutes. depending on the type of vegetables we are putting.
By mid-morning, the cook has progressed rapidly, and the finish line is in plain sight.
अभी तक 2500 किलो की राइस बन गई है. जहाँ तक डालमा की बात है 38 क्विंटल बन चुकी है और अबाउट 7 क्विंटल दैट इज 700 किलोस बनने के बाकी है. 11-15 तक ये बन जाएगी. तो ऐसे 12 बजे खाना शुरू होती है. सो कोई प्रॉब्लम, देयर विल बी नो डिले.
It's a good thing the kitchen is on track because outside the dining hall, thousands of children are already lining up. Student volunteers, too, are at their stations. It's their job to ferry trolleys of cooked food, which will be poured into smaller pails for distribution inside the dining hall, which at more than 24,000 square feet could fit a small colony of more than 25 two-bedroom houses in one space. But even this much space is not enough to accommodate over 25,000 children.
Half of it is for seating the boys and half of it is for seating the girls. That is in batches of 8,000, 3 to 4 batches, we complete the 25,000 meals. It takes about 1 hour 40 minutes to 2 hours to complete the whole process.
At 12 p.m., it's time to begin. As children stream in, they're divided into groups. Boys head to one end of the hall, girls to another. Over the next 2 hours, children from classes 1 straight through to postgraduate level will all sit down for lunch. In this microcosm, nearly 62 indigenous tribes of Odisha find representation, making the Kalinga Institute meal service not just mega in scale, but strong scaffolding to build the future generation. Even though lunch has begun, it doesn't mean work has stopped in the kitchen. Joining the cooks is founder of the Kalinga Institute, Dr. Achyuta Samanta, who started the school nearly 25 years ago. The menu includes non-vegetarian foods like chicken and fish, served at least twice a week. 2,400 kilos of chicken and fish every week, and about 75,000 eggs a month. Service continues non-stop as row upon row gets filled up, served and vacated. Children who have finished eating file back out with their plates and make their way to the taps. Each child is in charge of their designated utensils, and it's their job to scrub them well. In what perhaps might be the simplest mega dishwashing system anywhere. Lunch finished, students make their way back to the main school building. Dr. P.K. Das is quality in charge for the mega kitchen. And today he's on one of his routine checks, along with nutritionists. There's a lot on the line at every single meal, with thousands of children eating from the same batch of food. Even a small slip can have big consequences. So it's not enough to just have regular checks for food, but also for drinking water.
For 25,000 students, we need water. And that water we generate here in the RO plants. And 50,000 drinking water gives to the student and other 50,000 for cooking. and we see that all possible measures has been taken for their drinking and also for cooking.
The RO plant is a facility to purify water using the principle of reverse osmosis. The plant produces enough clean water in a day to meet the needs of an average urban Indian for well over a year and a half. Meeting the needs of an ever-growing student population has been an ongoing challenge for the kitchen. In 1993, there were only 125 students. By 2010, the number had skyrocketed to approximately 12,000. At the time, the kitchen still practiced conventional methods of cooking in large vessels over LPG, or liquefied petroleum gas-fueled stoves. But this system was tiresome as it took up to 6 to 7 hours to complete a single meal preparation.
While looking for alternatives, we came across that steam cooking is the best, which is already being used for several big kitchens in the country, like Balaji Tirupati, like Vaishnavi Devi, like Sri Reddy.
Recently, the Kalinga Institute was conferred with special consultative status by the United Nations. International recognition aside, the Kalinga Institute's numbers speak for themselves. Not only does it have massive enrollment, its dropout rate too is almost nil. One of the big draws is the food. In the kitchens, another mega meal is being prepared, this time for dinner. Unlike lunch, dinner is usually purely vegetarian, and quantities tend to be lesser than the volumes prepared in the day.
The consumption is 4,200 kilograms of rice in the morning. In the nights, it is slightly less, 4,000 kilograms. Add to that, about morning we have about 24 to 2600 kilograms of lintel, that is arhar dal or 2 dal, right? And in the nights, it is about 2,000 kilograms. Add to that, about morning, about 1,600 kilos of potatoes, and in night also 1,600 kilograms of potatoes. And vegetables around 23 to 24 quintal, or you call it 2,300 kilograms or 2,400 kilograms of vegetable, both types.
Between 3 and 7 p.m., this kitchen will be abuzz with the final meal preparation of the day. As evening falls on the Kalinga Institute campus, dinner service begins, drawing the immense community together once again. Volunteers take to their stations, doling out pailfuls of rice and curry. The children have had a long day that for many started at 5 a.m. Children who are now out of their uniforms appear relaxed.
After the impressive story of mega kitchens, let us now have a look at the events that take place in the KISS Foundation.
"15,500 students of Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, Bhubaneswar created a Guinness World Record by forming the world's largest human awareness ribbon on 1st of December 2016.
have a look at Kiss Green and how this NGO is following eco-friendly norms for a better environment for future generations.
Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, accorded special consultative status by the United Nations Economic and Social Council, and its higher education being recently accorded, deemed to be university status by the UGC, has been working relentlessly for the upliftment of the indigenous community. KISS also endeavors to serve the society by reducing carbon emission through its green initiatives by installing a solar photovoltaic system in its campus. It fulfills our commitment towards a greener and cleaner environment. KISS has established a biogas plant in its campus that converts locally produced kitchen waste and food waste into useful energy for cooking and manure for garden and plantation. KISS has installed 3 numbers fully mechanized steam-based kitchen which serves the purpose by reducing time of cooking, minimizing fuel consumption and preparing hygienic food. The solar water heating system installed on rooftop caters hot water to kitchen for cooking. KISS has commissioned Sewerage Treatment Plants (STP) in its different campuses. After passing through different phases of the STP, the treated water is utilized towards agricultural use and flushing purposes. KISS also runs a fully mechanized laundry to enable the students to get clean clothes with minimal use of water and detergent. KISS curd making unit is an integrated model of production and training unit that takes special interest in feeding the children with nutritious food. KISS has also started a bakery unit which makes bread and other bakery items. Efficient ovens and baking process helps to save energy and minimal water use. KISS has installed its own rainwater harvesting system to facilitate groundwater recharging. The rainwater from roof is channelized through filter and regulator to groundwater zone. KISS also conducted massive plantation activities in different villages throughout Odisha. Staff, student and villagers joined hands for plantation in thousands all over the state.
Now is the time to see the sports facilities provided by KISS Foundation.
At KIT and KISS, educational excellence and sporting brilliance go hand in hand. Holistic development of the students is the cornerstone of KIT and KISS. Besides academics, effort is made to scout talent among the students, provide all necessary support, and bring out the best in each one of them. This unique focus, especially for the students of KISS who are with the institution from a formative age, has produced achievers not only in academics and allied fields but also in sports and games. KIT and KISS are proud to have a rich sporting culture. They've created a world-class sports infrastructure and engaged international coaches in several disciplines to nurture and hone students' talents. KISS in its journey are determined to build upon this beginning and hope to bring more glory for the country and the state in the years to come.
In this clip, you will see various satellite centers and how KISS is nurturing the young minds through information and technology.
In 1992-93, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences KISS started with 125 poorest of the poor tribal children in a rented building to provide free home, free education and vocational skills empowerment. The institute's founder, Professor Achyuta Samanta, has initiated an innovative plan to extend the KISS model of empowerment for the underprivileged children in all outlying districts of Orissa. The plan envisages the establishment of 20 satellite centers replicating KISS model in 20 tribal districts of Orissa to provide free, comprehensive education with free lodging and boarding from kindergarten to class 12. The program also envisages creation of world-class infrastructure in these satellite centers with financial collaboration of the corporates. Already, the work has started in 6 districts of the state and the remaining 14 are in the pipeline.
This clip highlights the life skills being imparted to the children of KISS Foundation.
In the year 2009, United Nations Population Fund partnered with KISS for undertaking life skills education to enhance the knowledge and skills of the students on life skills and sexual and reproductive health through classroom transaction at school level and peer education at college level. So far, around 750 teachers and 500 peer educators have been trained on life skills education with technical support from training institute in the country. Different user-friendly resource and communication materials are adopted and developed, keeping its socio-cultural palatability.
This clip shows the early life of the residents and how they are being groomed for a better future.
Early childhood matters. Tribal children, like all other children, need effective schools which are staffed by appropriately qualified teachers who take them from where they are to where they need to go. Language is not just a means of communication, but essence and identity of culture, history, and heritage. There is a vital role of indigenous languages in development. There are approximately 370 to 500 million indigenous people in the world who speak an overwhelming majority of world's 7,000 languages. In India alone, there exists more than 780 languages, and Orissa's 62 resident tribal communities speak a total of 21 languages with 74 dialects. It's estimated that every 2 weeks a language dies. So the loss of these languages signifies not only the loss of traditional knowledge but also the loss of cultural diversity. Some 40% of world's population do not have the access to education in a language they understand or speak. This is a daunting obstacle as we pursue SDG. Almost 24% of Orissa's population is indigenous. Education for 1.4 million tribal children is difficult. There is a language gap. The children are taught in dominant language and not in mother tongue. They lose their interest. The language skills are not honed. These challenges are overcome by social innovation at KISS. Every year, more than 4,000 tribal children in the age group of 4 to 6 join grade 1. In response to the difficulties faced by children, KISS initiated mother tongue-based multilingual education. Here are few experiences from the teachers at KISS.
There is a gap between preschool and primary school. That's why we introduce a bridge course which we call the transition curriculum. As part of the bridge course, we have prepared a language lab. The classroom for the 90 days transition is designed entirely based on the culture and the mother tongue of the kid. So when the kid comes directly from a village, he doesn't get confronted to a different language, and he is made to feel home with this mother tongue based approach.
When class 1 children entered into the school, we first interact with them, their language teachers who are present in case, so that they will feel comfortable with them and express their feelings if they are ill or they are hungry. Then language mapping. Then baseline test. Then we will go for the multilingual classroom situation. In one class, you have boys and girls from Santal community, Kanda community, Kollo community. We divide them in such a manner so that they can intermingle with themselves, and it will be easier for the teacher to interact with the students effectively.
We formed a peer group. One is the immediate senior, the primary grade students of class 2 to class 5, and we have also taken the secondary students of grade 9 and 10th, and the college going students also. So we make them sit in a regular interval, and we discussed about what are the difficulties they face in those days, and they also suggested some solutions. Also community people, when we made the parents, they also suggested us many things, like stories they told us which is familiar in their community, which is regularly heard by students, small children, and we collected many things and we put it in the transition curriculum.
Curriculum has been framed to focus on reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. KISS also encourages the students to retain their tribal languages and culture, to talk with their elders when they are home, and to be proud of their tribal heritage. But the culture that surrounds KISS is primarily that of motivation and aspiration. It's looking forward. KISS students learn that they are in the process of becoming someone. They are building the capacity to hope.
This clip shows the early life of the residents and how they are being groomed for a better future.
When he was only 4 years old, his father died in a tragic train accident. The incident shattered the whole family. Consequently, his mother, with the 7 siblings, shifted from the city of Jamshedpur to their native village Kalarabanka in Cuttack district. With no income at hand to fall back upon, the family starved for days, and the widowed mother was at her wits' end as to how to sustain the siblings.
ए पेटर कौन अच्छी जानचू गरम गरम भात और तरकारी बूढ़ी मामुनी देइची.
The hapless mother, struggling to fight poverty, could hardly imagine of sending her children to school for education. The young boy Achyuta would spend his spare time playing with other children of the village who didn't go to school. One day, while playing, the noisy boys strayed into the village primary school. Disturbed by such trespassing by the raucous village kids, the school teacher came out and caught hold of Achyuta, while the other children could flee away from the place. and upon learning how poor the family was to afford education, facilitated his admission in the school. The young Achyuta went to school regularly. One day, the young Samantha, unaware of his mother's design, took a morsel from the food set apart for the eldest sibling.
Hey, तू कौन कह दोछु मां पर बड़ा दादन पे रखिथिले
अरे हे एटा कोठी थिला सब खाइ देले रे उठी बुटी ए
Mother got terribly upset and hit him, which wounded him in the eye. The heartbroken mother had to send away other siblings to far and near relatives and chose to keep the young Achyuta Samanta and his youngest daughter with her. No electricity was available in the dilapidated, thatch-roofed house where the family sheltered. The family's income could hardly afford enough fuel for kerosene lamp. Despite starvation, the young Achyuta Samanta focused on his studies with the divine conviction that this mire of poverty can be eradicated through education only. Achyuta Samanta, after completing his primary education, went to study at Raghunathpur High School, which was 8 kilometers away from home. Finding no option for livelihood, the family took to parboiling of paddy for the village households. The boy Achyuta Samanta would collect paddy from the households for parboiling. After shelling and winnowing, the child Achyuta would deliver the finished rice at the doorsteps of the households. To augment the family's income, the boy Achyuta Samanta also grew vegetable crops on the land in the backyard. He used to carry the produce to market far off and sold them. Often on his way back home, he would fetch groceries and other household articles from the market for village folks who trusted him for his honesty and sincerity. Despite working hard to augment family's income, the boy Achyuta Samanta would make out time for study. Soon he completed high school education and went on to complete his graduation in SCS College Puri and post-graduation in chemistry in Utkal University at Bhubaneswar.
This clip gives the information of one of the most important part of human life, that is art of giving.
One day in 1969, very early in the morning at about 5 a.m., a small boy about 4 years old could not understand why all of a sudden members in the family burst into a loud wail and looked crestfallen. Not knowing what to do and what not to do, the child looked inquiringly at the grief-stricken faces. Soon he came to realize that his father had died, though the word death was beyond his understanding. His father had died in a tragic train accident, leaving 7 siblings and the widowed wife behind. The youngest sibling was about a month old and the eldest 17 years. The deceased father was a petty worker in an industry and had left no savings for the 8-member family to survive on. All the siblings, including the small boy, had to grow up in the midst of severe poverty in a very remote village of Orissa in India. The boy did odd menial jobs here and there voluntarily and helped his widowed mother. The early childhood and fate forced the boy to fend for himself and was thus self-made right from the age of about 5 years. He gave his mother the solace by wiping her tears and he gave his little sister the comfort of his lap to sleep on. By about 7 years of age, the boy was already sharing his hard-earned money from his work with the classmates. He kept 1 rupee out of his wage earned for the day just to give tea and snacks to his 4 friends at a tea shop near the school where they studied. He also helped the village folks and friends by giving his time and energy to fetch groceries and provisions from the nearby market every now and then. The boy grew up to be a youth in due course. One day, while he was doing his master's program in Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, he gave away the 300 rupees given to him by his eldest brother for joining the college picnic to one of his friends who had no money, and helped the friend to join the picnic while he himself stayed away from it. After completion of his master's degree in chemistry, this young man landed himself in a teaching job in a local college. Besides the job, he did private tutoring, and with the income, he supported his needy friends and his poor family members, ignoring his own comforts. This young man soon thought of and ventured to set up 2 institutions with only 5,000 rupees in a rented building in 1992-93. Today, while one of these institutions has become the most promising university of the country with 30,000 students from across the globe, the other institution has become the beauty of the world, which nurtures and gives a decent life to 27,000 poor indigenous children of the country, providing free education from kindergarten to post-graduation and professional education with fully free residential and boarding facility. The small institute that started with only $100 in 1992 has been instrumental in giving smiles directly and indirectly to 1 million people and looks forward to giving smiles to 10 million people by 2020. He has also given back to his remote village, turning it into a model village having all amenities of a city. He has also greatly contributed towards enriching art, culture, films, literature, spiritualism, and many other fields. This boy of yesteryears, who is now grown big in stature, gives credit for all his accomplishments in life to the art of giving, which he had silently learned since his childhood. It has been the ethos of his life. He passionately believes in the portent of the term the art of giving, which ultimately brings peace in the minds of people in the society. He has institutionalized the concept since 17th May 2013. He is none other than Achyuta Samanta, the visionary social entrepreneur, social worker, educationist, and the founder of Kit and Kiss, the Kiss Foundation India, and the Kiss Foundation UK.
We just saw various activities taken up by the Kiss Foundation and how it is helping the tribal poor children to achieve their dreams.